Hey Reddit, I need to share this story because I'm still shaking from what happened. I've been with my husband since 2018. We have a 3-year-old girl and a newborn boy. But tonight, things almost took a turn for the worse. My husband has always had trouble paying attention, but I never thought it would come to this. Our neighborhood is weirdly laid out, with cars zooming by at crazy speeds at all hours of the day. I was folding clothes when I heard our toddler screaming, "Dad, help!" That tone made me drop everything and sprint outside. What I saw made my blood run cold, our newborn in his stroller, careening towards the busy street. I screamed and ran to him, barely stopping the stroller in time. My baby girl's hands and knees were scratched up because she tripped trying to run after the stroller. I snatched up my baby, heart pounding, and scanned for my husband. He wasn't watching. He was chatting with neighbors, completely oblivious. The anger I felt was unlike anything I've ever experienced. I stormed up to him, shouting in disbelief. He looked shocked at first, then realized what almost happened. The apologies and tears came pouring out, but it was too late. I couldn't wrap my head around how he could be so careless, so blind to our toddler's screams and the stroller rolling away. I packed up the kids and left, staying with my parents. They're on my side, but my husband keeps texting, begging forgiveness, calling it an honest mistake. But I can't shake the terror of almost losing my baby because he couldn't focus for a single second. My baby girl got hurt in the process because he couldn't pay attention. I almost lost my son because he couldn't pay attention. I can't stop crying. I feel so guilty. I wish this all never happened. Sorry it's short. I just want to hold my babies, and I can't stop shaking every time I think about it. What if I was just 1 second late? Would I have been planning a funeral? And the reason I left the house instead of him was because I hate that house. I don't feel like it is safe for the kids with all the traffic. And I was right. It's my husband's workhouse. I can't be running either. I had a C-section less 6 weeks ago. A lot of people are saying, why wasn't I watching the kids? I was doing their laundry like a parent. Does he take them for walks to have bonding time with them? He literally created this by himself. This has never happened before. How was I supposed to know? And people saying, why didn't I get him checked out? I'm not his mother. He is 30 years old. I'm sick of people acting like I have to parent my own husband while I literally have a newborn, a toddler, and I'm still healing from a C-section that I teared my stitches from when I ran to get my baby. I don't care if it was his attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. The court wouldn't care either. If he ended my child, he would have gone to prison, either way. Relevant comments. Additional info from OP. Somebody said, okay, he was 100% wrong, and I'd be livid just like you. However, I'm a little confused about the situation. Like, why was your baby just in a stroller unattended? Why did the stroller randomly go into the road? Since it sounds like you were at home, is this maybe something y'all normally do, just to have a place for a baby to sit out front of your house when your toddler is playing outside? And maybe it was a freak accident? I'm going to be honest, as a mom, most of us have stories of near-death experiences with our kids. We can be naive and stupid and expect a little child to have more awareness, survival skills than they do. When my son was 2, we had a horrible experience with an escalator, and I still have times where I can't sleep because of it. We are all idiots when it comes to parenting, because how can you know until you live it? And seriously, like, every parent has one of these moments, unless you're one of those insanely lucky ones. I still really don't understand the whole scenario of what happened, but to me it seems he really has remorse and feels terrible. And once you go through something like that, you never forget it. So if he cares and loves your kids, he's devastated and has learned a hard lesson. I don't know that your response was the best, but get why you did it in the moment. But I think you guys have a serious talk and maybe look into moving if possible. I wouldn't go straight to divorce like Reddit loves to preach. I think there is a solution here. And so sorry you're dealing with this. It's literally the worst feeling in the world. Original poster replied, "Hi love, let me just clear it up for you." So I was sitting inside, in the lounge room, and there's a huge window behind the TV that was a little open so I could hear outside. That's when I heard my toddler scream for her dad to help. When I was outside, he was standing on the neighbor's driveway. I assumed that he must have had left the baby literally on the road, because there was no possible way that it would have rolled off like that. And my toddler was playing with the neighbor's cat before she noticed her brother was rolling away when I confronted him about it. He tried to explain, but he just kept stuttering. I still don't know what exactly happened. I don't know if he didn't put the brakes on the stroller. If the wind blew him away, I just don't know. My neighbor contacted me and had asked if I wanted the security footage because his wife is 100% on my side, so I'll probably find out once it gets sent to me. Somebody said, I freaking screamed when I read what happened. Are you okay? Like, did you get any more damage to yourself? You literally just had a baby. What the hell was your husband doing? Like, being outside with small children, especially on a busy street, should be treated like watching babies swim because anything can happen in an instant. I hope you are okay. And also, I don't know, but do you all have cameras in your house? I wonder how long your husband was talking to the neighbor. Original poster replied, I tore my stitches from the C-section and had to go to the emergency room while I was there. I made sure my baby girl got her knees and hands bandaged up. The crazy thing is, I didn't even realize I was bleeding until I was in my parents' car. My mum pointed it out. She panicked, took the baby boy back to their house, and my dad took me and my daughter to the hospital. Update. The neighbor's wife sent me the footage, and I really can't just wrap my head around it. So my husband was walking with the stroller, and my toddler was in front of them when they passed the neighbor's house. My neighbor was outside, washing his car, and my toddler saw his pet cat and stopped to pet it. So my husband stopped, left my baby on the road. He didn't even bother locking the wheels and walked all the way up the driveway, not even bothering looking back at the baby. He had his back faced to him for about 5 minutes before the stroller just suddenly started moving. I think it's because the road is on a hill, kinda. Or it could have been the wind. My toddler never went near the stroller. It couldn't be her. The stroller went down the road, and my toddler, that's when she started screaming and running for it. When she saw it, the neighbor started running after my daughter when she tripped. He tried to pick her up. That's when the neighbor's wife's car comes into frame, and she stops and starts running back to the way the stroller is coming. After that, you can't really see anything because it's all out of frame, but you can hear all the commotion. My husband just stood there the whole time, hand on his head, with a blank stare on his face. He didn't even do anything when our toddler was crying from hurting herself. He only started crying when I confronted him. What do? I genuinely do not know what to do. I'm panicking. This was never the life I wanted for my kids. I don't understand why he was standing there. I have not even gotten a text or a call from him since I got sent the video. It's just been silent. I just can't get the sound of my daughter's screams. That's the sound that no mother wants to hear. I can't explain at the moment, but it felt like my blood went cold, and I just felt pure fear. I never want to watch the footage again. New updates. Hey everyone, I posted here a while back about my husband nearly ending our newborn son. I wanted to give a quick update on the situation. After reading through the comments, I decided to go back to my husband. Many of you pointed out that if I left him, we'd end up with 50-50 custody of our kids, which I couldn't bear. So I made the difficult choice to stay, even though my love for him has faded. My plan now is to tough it out until our kids turn 18 and then leave. I'm terrified of getting pregnant again, especially since I'm not allowed to use birth control or get my tubes tied. My parents, who could offer support, are moving away, leaving me feeling trapped. Despite everything, my husband tries hard to make things right. He still treats me with affection and goes out of his way to create special moments for our family. Seeing him bond with our newborn and our daughter fills me with conflicting emotions. I know I can't stand being with him, but I can't bear to separate him from our kids either. He was so happy when we came back home, but I can't stand even looking at him. I feel some guilt because he still calls me by my nickname. Looks at me like I'm the only girl in the world, besides our daughter, and he still continues our traditions. Like when the kids are sleeping, he will go get ice cream and our favorite snacks and sets up a fort on our bed to watch movies on our laptop. Even though I'm sacrificing my happiness, my priority is ensuring my children's safety and well-being. It's a tough situation, but I'm doing my best to navigate it for the sake of my family. This is a throwaway, so I'm going to log out. By update. As you can see from my previous post, I did go back to him, and it was quite literally the biggest mistake I've ever made, but I felt like I really had no choice. No money. Family moved out of state. A lot has happened the past couple of months. So it turns out my husband started taking meds for his ADHD a couple of weeks before I was due to give birth to our son. He took my kids on a walk to cover up the fact that he was also on meth. He took my kids to meet his dealer. Apparently, every time they went for a walk, looking back at the footage, now, it makes so much sense because of the way he was talking to the neighbor before. Everything happened, he was kind of leaning to the side. I talked to my neighbor, and I asked him if he knew that my husband was on drugs. He said he didn't, but he noticed that my husband looked a bit off recently. His wife works at a rehab clinic after a fight where I had to flee with the kids to the neighbor's house. She pointed out that the way he was acting was the way that people acted with drug withdrawal. My neighbor and his wife ended up helping me book a flight to my parents. I'm currently with them right now, and I have spoken to a lawyer that my parents are going to help me pay for. I think all the people from my original post that told me to keep the footage because it is going to come in handy. My husband keeps sending me videos of him shooting up and doing other substances. He keeps saying that they are going to fix him. He sent me a video of him standing in our kids' room, and he was just screaming at me, saying that it helped him cope with his attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. He took a knife and stabbed both of our kids' mattresses. I am not going back. He even cut up the side of my bed. There's a comment from my previous post that has been sitting in the back of my mind and has been bugging me. I think you know which one it was. It was by their comment, saying, I don't care if it was his attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, isn't going to fix anything and will probably only make things worse. Talking and thinking about it like he intentionally tried to end your child isn't either. With attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, you actually do not register things like this at all sometimes. Life expectancy for those of us with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is actually significantly lower because many of us end up often accidentally ending ourselves. It is not the same thing as carelessness, but learning about attention deficit hyperactivity disorder a little deeper can help you guys be safer. Understanding how my attention deficit hyperactivity disorder works and using different than standard precautions, like my brain needs, has actually most likely saved my life. Lie out what you want from him. That's probably that he get his attention deficit hyperactivity disorder better under control, whether that be through prescription medication or more homeopathic method. That you get a different place if possible. That he not take your kids out in your front yard without you, etc. Also, neither he or the neighbor noticed, but you heard your kid from inside? Something seems off here. Were your neighbors just watching the stroller roll towards the street? Was your husband on the other side of your house where he couldn't see the stroller? Were you already walking outside as this unfolded? I'm trying to understand better what was going on here and why your husband or the neighbor did not notice, but you did from inside. People, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, tend to be incredibly good and quick to act in emergency situations. So this is especially weird. I'm absolutely not accusing you of leaving anything out or anything, but asking you to think about what your husband and the neighbor were doing that neither noticed. That smells fishy. This is a horrible situation. I lost a pet due to the inattentiveness of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, but I can't imagine losing, even nearly losing a child. What the hell? It baffles me that you can even compare losing an animal to losing a child. You made people with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder sound completely unreliable for themselves and that they can't do anything. You made them sound very helpless, and saying that the life expectancy thing was completely uncalled for as well. I bet many people with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, reading that completely disagreed with you, judging from all the comments and YouTube videos I've seen on my post. I don't know if you're projecting that you lost a pet from your inattentiveness of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. If you were letting things die in your care, you need to get stronger help. And no, I was not going to lay out what I want from him. He's the one that started mixing his meds and was high off his mind every time they went out for a walk. And no, I'm not ableist. I was in a very vulnerable state when I first posted my original post. All I was doing was looking for help and advice. But all I got was, where was you? What were you doing? Why weren't you with the kids? Why didn't you get your husband checked out? I was healing from a damn C-section. Get that through your heads. I genuinely hope that everybody that said something horrible about me in my original post has to get cut open and then 4 days later is forced to run down the street. I gave him another chance, like you all said in my original post. You've seen what happened. Stop using attention deficit hyperactivity disorder as an excuse. I genuinely believe that if he had ended my child, you would have defended him. And no, I did not know he was on drugs. And all the people that reached out to me, I'm going to be forever grateful for all of the parents with ADHD that didn't make me feel like it was all my fault. And all the stories that you guys have shared with me made me feel so seen, because I know exactly how it feels. I hope everybody is doing well. Everybody that was defending me. I wish I could give you a big hug. I genuinely wish I could send gift baskets. I would thank you all from the bottom of my heart, and I am so sorry about that comment that person made. I know you guys are all not like that. You guys are genuinely intelligent from all the comments that I've read. I could not thank you guys enough. And one person that sent me that horrible message, I genuinely hope I run into you one day so I can beat your ass until you see stars and say anything about my daughter or my son one more time, and I will literally track you down.